happy day. Ooh, I hope you're having a good one. I have the most juicy topic to talk to you about today. We're going to talk all things supplementation, how to do it correctly. Now, the reason I think this is so important to dive into is because time and again I see clients or people just taking supplements because they think it's good for them. Taking multivitamins because they think it's good for them, and also taking things incorrectly, particularly iron supplementation, or taking supplementation and either not getting a result or not knowing what result to expect. Okay, now supplementation is by definition adding in a nutrient or a combination of nutrients into your diet through from an external source, so through a non-food source, typically. So think things like magnesium supplementation is very common. Iron supplementation is way too common in my opinion. I think we need to be looking at root cause as to why you're iron deficient, etc. And gut health has a big portion to play in that. So those are some really common supplements that we use. In the sports industry, I've got a lot of clients who are athletes. We're looking at nutrition for performance. So supplementation can be so incredibly powerful in terms of helping you to recover quickly, so that you can back up your workouts. Now, when you're wanting to grow muscles, get stronger, faster, fitter, etc., that supplementation can really enhance and support your journey to that. So I get some exceptional results through supplementation, but it's also something I'm very particular about, okay? I have high standards when it comes to supplementation because it is a man-made product, all right? So we want to make sure that what you're taking is going to help you. Constantly, I'm asking the question, is it helpful, right? Or is it hindering? And if it's hindering, it's not helping. So we need to remove it. Okay, it's really as simple as that. So today we're going to be talking about when and why you potentially need to supplement, how to maximize the absorption of your supplementation, how not to supplement, very important, the nutrient flooding concept. Oh, I love this, especially with kids and adolescents with who are very, very active athletes, etc. Toxicity. So yes, if you supplement incorrectly, you can become toxic. That is a potential, and I'm not very much often talked about. And then I've got some final tips for you that I'll lay out. So let's start with when and why you potentially need to supplement. Now, in our food industry, our food is mass produced, okay? So unless you have access to a local farmer or local produce, or you go to the farmers markets where we're purchasing our products from small farms who aren't monocropping. So monocropping means they're making one product, say corn, for acres and acres and acres and acres, and that's all they're doing. And what that does is it drains the soil of the nutrients required to grow that. And then they're doing it again and again. And because the soil becomes quite depleted of certain nutrients, they're going to need to be spraying it with pesticides and herbicides because the plants don't have enough nutrients in order to fight off the bugs. Now, we are exactly the same. When our bodies are healthy, thriving, in balance, when our souls are fulfilled and satisfied, we are less likely to be susceptible to illness. Okay? Your body has to have an environment to support illness. Okay? And if it doesn't, right, if it's very healthy, vibrant, diverse, you're feeling satisfied, purposeful, fulfilled in your life, you're less likely to get sick. So with supplementation, the reason why it could be necessary is because the food that you're consuming is devoid of nutrients. Just because kale is known to be rich in iron and magnesium, vitamin K, folate, that does not mean that it is, okay? Because if it was grown in soil that was deficient in those nutrients, then it simply won't, it'll look like kale, but it won't have the nutrient profile that kale has the potential for. Let me know if that makes sense. Okay, so just because, and this is what I say to people all the time, it's not what you eat, it's what you eat eats. Okay, so it's not the kale that you're eating the microbiome of the soil and the nutrients that were in the soil and the water that the kale was fed. Yes? So you really, the way around that and the way around to reduce your need for supplements due to deficiency is to be looking at organic practices and purchasing your produce from organic farmers, from local farmers, and ones that reduce or don't use chemical and sprays, because they act like an antibiotic on your gut, which affects the absorption of your nutrients. Okay, so the reason, in a nutshell, why you need to supplement is because you are deficient in nutrients and you have signs and symptoms within your body like headaches, aches and pains, inability to recover from workouts, gut health issues, you might have anxiety, depression, you might be getting muscle twitches, you might be getting immune challenges quite frequently, skin issues, that potentially you need to be supplementing for that in order to bring you back up to levels that fulfill your body and top up your nutrient levels to resolve those issues. You may also need to supplement if you have a high requirement for nutrients. So, easy example for this is pregnancy. Okay, when you're pregnant, you have a higher requirement for nutrients like folate, iron, magnesium, B vitamins, all of them, everything, protein, essential fatty acids, DHA, okay, because you are literally growing another human. So you need more nutrients. That does not equal more calories. Well, yes, it can, and that's why I just recommend individual consultation for pregnancy. However, making sure that you are maximizing your nutrients during that time, supplementation can be a really great opportunity, like a great thing for that. Okay, it can be a great way to get extra nutrients into your diet, into your body, when you might not have the capacity to due to nausea, vomiting, food aversions, etc. So deficiency, high requirement through pregnancy. If you are stressed, you have a higher requirement for things like vitamin C, zinc, magnesium, potentially probiotics, B vitamins. So there are all these reasons why you may need to supplement, because you have a high requirement or because you are deficient in something. Now, if we look at the way that you live, it's very rare that I see a person whose life is just working out well. Because if it is, they're not in my office, let's be honest. But also, because we live such a fast-paced society, right? Often, supplementation can be really helpful to support through that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just about making sure that the supplements you're having are of really high quality and are giving you the result that you're desiring. So next up, we're going to have a chat about how to maximize the absorption of your supplementation. Now, this is actually really, really important. Just because a supplement contains a nutrient does not mean you will absorb it. Okay? Classic example is something like iron and grains. Okay, so iron binds, so grains bind to iron and inhibit its absorption. Okay, and the opposite of that is something like, we all know that vitamin C helps the absorption of iron. But did you know that vitamin C only helps the absorption of what's called non-heme iron? So that means non-heme means from non-animal sources. Heme iron comes from animal sources like beef, kangaroo, lamb, chicken, pork, etc. Non-heme comes from things like your kale, your greens, spirulina, etc. Vegetarian, plant-based sources. So vitamin C will help those, but it won't help the absorption of meat-based because it doesn't need it. All right. Now, when we're looking at something like iron supplementation, you can look at the different forms. Okay, so biggest complaint that people have when they have iron supplementation is that they get constipated, they feel nauseous, they get black poos, it doesn't sit right in their body, and they don't want to take it. Okay, so compliance here is going to be quite low because the supplementation is making you feel really sick. So in my clinic, I don't ever recommend poor quality forms of iron supplementation because I want you to be feeling good while we increase your levels. Okay, so if you want to maximize the absorption of iron, here's some tips. Don't take it every day. Okay, take it every second day. All right, there is a hepcidin concept, which is very scientific. I'm not going to go into it today, but basically what it says is in order to maximize the absorption of iron, you take it every second day, and you take it on an empty stomach either in the morning or at night. And that's going to maximize the absorption of your iron through your supplementation. You can also look at the form of the nutrient. So we've got things like magnesium chelate, magnesium bisglycinate, magnesium threonate, we've got iron, ferrous iron, we've got iron bisglycinate, we've got all these different types of, and they're called forms of nutrients. So depending on what your ailment is, will depend on the form. Now, bisglycinate doesn't require what we call cofactors to be absorbed. So if you're taking an iron bisglycinate, it doesn't need any B vitamins or vitamin C to be absorbed by the body. So you can maximize the absorption of it that way by taking it correctly and taking the right form of nutrient. This is why you come and see me. Because we have a chat about what's going on for you and how to use the best form and the best method of supplementation to maximize the absorption, because not all supplements need to be taken every day, and sometimes supplements need to be taken multiple times a day in order for them to work to get the correct dosage. That's the third point in how to maximize absorption. Your dosage matters. Okay, so if you need to take 600 milligrams of magnesium, it won't be beneficial for you to take it all in one go. If you need to take 10 grams of vitamin C and you did that all in one go, you'd get the runs. You'd get really bad stomach pains. Now, vitamin C is a water-soluble nutrient, so it's best taken smaller doses frequently throughout the day, and that way it has shown to reduce the severity and duration of a cold. Okay? So the dosage matters. How you take it, how frequent you take it, and the dose you take is really important to maximize the absorption and therefore the results that you're going to get through your supplements. Alrighty. Let's chat how not to supplement. Really important. So the biggest thing with how not to supplement is knowing what we call inhibitors. Okay, so an inhibitor is a blocker. So best example, zinc and iron compete for absorption in the body. So if you've got a pipe and one pipe the magnesium absorbs through the body through that pipe, the next pipe has a vitamin C, and the next pipe has iron and zinc. Iron and zinc use the same pipe to get into the body, okay, to be utilized. So if only one can fit at a time. So if you're taking zinc and iron together, you're going to reduce your absorption of both of those. That's what's called competing for absorption. So they're not to be taken together, okay? The next thing is things like certain foods can bind to nutrients and prevent their absorption. So coffee, tea, the tannins in them, milk and cereals often will bind to the nutrient in the supplement and prevent it from being absorbed. So you really do need to be checking with your practitioner as to how to take your supplement correctly. I always write in detail how to take it. Okay, because some supplements like zinc you want to be taking with food, not on an empty stomach. Whereas other supplements can be taken on an empty stomach. B vitamins are best utilized with food because the food helps activate them. Okay, so it's really important that you're making sure that the supplements you're taking aren't binding with the food. Okay, so make sure you chat with your practitioner or book a consult with me, and we can have a look at your schedule, your supplement schedule, and make sure that you're maximizing that. We've already talked about iron quality and dosage, but I do want to talk about that again. With nutrients and supplements, you are only going to get a result if you get the therapeutic amount, okay? So if you're taking a multivitamin, I would be really questioning why. Like, why are you not getting it through your food? How can we maximize that? It's kind of like, and also a lot of multivitamins, the nutrients are so low in them that, like, I kind of think, what's the point? They can be beneficial, but you need to get a really good quality one. So in terms of how not to supplement, you really want to make sure don't use poor quality supplements. Okay, if you're buying them from the supermarket, really know what you're doing. I don't recommend it. Okay, so getting advice on your supplementation, in my opinion, is the best way to make sure you're getting the most out of them and to not waste your money. Okay, or time. So, how not to supplement? Make sure that your nutrients aren't competing for absorption. Make sure that you're taking it with food if it needs food and without food if it doesn't require food, and staying away from things like coffee, milk, tea, and cereals within like 1 to 2 hours of your supplementations is going to help maximize that absorption. Alrighty. And next point is the nutrient flooding concept. Okay, so I had a poll popped up yesterday on social media, and I asked the question, can you overdo the supplementation? And 100% of people said yes. And whilst I agree, I do also see where a nutrient flooding concept can be very beneficial for people. Because if you're in a state where you are really, really, really deficient, okay, so say you're feeling really, really fatigued, you're constantly getting sick, and you know you've got a high workload, or you're really, really stressed, then you're going to need to flood your body with nutrients for a good month or more in order to top up your reserves and put you in a nutrient surplus. Not a calorie surplus, that is different, a nutrient surplus. So I talk about your body in terms of a big bank, right? You want your bank to be really rich, really, really rich. And that's how you get really rich, is making sure you have heaps of nutrients through food and supplementation where it suits, okay? If you've got a really rich bank account, you've got room to drop, okay? So if you hit an immune challenge, you're not going to go into a deficit because you've been in a mediocre, space within your bank. If you're really, really rich, you've got more room to drop, and therefore you're not going to hit like rock bottom with your health really, really quickly. So the nutrient flooding concept means that we look at your diet and your supplementation and we say, how can we put as much nutrients in here as possible? So what are the foods that we can use that are high nutrient density that you can take regularly that are going to flood the body with nutrients? Now, for this concept, food-based supplements can be exceptional, absolutely exceptional. Your body loves food in terms of the nutrients that it can pull from it. So when you're taking in food, so say you're eating liver, it doesn't just have iron in it, it also has vitamin A and B12 and some B vitamins and some zinc in there. And they all work in combination to be absorbed by the body. So food is really smart. right? Like it has everything in it it needs. If you look at an orange, it's got vitamins. We all know oranges are rich in vitamin C. But what you may not know is that the pith around the orange, which is the white part, contains what's called bioflavonoids. Now, bioflavonoids help the absorption of vitamin C within the body. So if you look at the orange, it's absolutely perfect in terms of maximizing vitamin C absorption. It has everything within it. And food is like that. So when you get high quality food-based supplements, things like greens powders, which are things like chlorella, spirulina, might have a bit of coriander in them. Those are food-based, high nutrient supplements that your body will be able to absorb and flood with nutrients through these products. So I love things like greens powders, offal capsules, like liver heart capsules. So good, especially for women or if you're iron deficient or really, really fatigued. Nutra-Organics, the brand, have got a really fantastic range of food-based supplements. They've got really good ones for kids as well. So if you do want access to any of these, send me a DM and we can have a chat about what might be suitable for you, and I can set you up with a link to purchase. So the nutrient flooding concept I recommend for kids, adolescents, and adults who have a really poor diet or have had a poor diet for some time or have a higher requirement, so you're just not thriving. And the food-based supplements can be super powerful for that because you're not going to be at risk of inhibiting or blocking certain nutrients within that, and you don't have to be as specific with your timing with them because they're just food. They're just high nutrient dense foods in a powder form. Okay, let's chat about toxicity. So when you supplement, you do run the risk of toxicity. And toxicity means that you've got too much of a nutrient. So iron is a really great example of that. I never, ever recommend supplementing with iron if you do not have an iron test result in front of you. Okay? Because the symptoms of toxicity of iron and the symptoms of deficiency are very, very similar. So if you are coming in symptomatic of iron deficiency and we start like supplementing you without a test result from your GP, then we run the risk, like you might actually be toxic, so we run the risk of making you worse, okay? First, do no harm. So don't ever recommend taking iron without a test result, and even then you need to be monitored to make sure, like, what are your levels doing? Is what we're doing working? Is it not working? Why is it not working? Where's your gut health at? How are we supporting you with food? What's your foundational way of eating like? Okay, so there's lots of questions we need to be coming at with this. Same with things like magnesium. Magnesium and calcium have to be in a really beautiful, balanced ratio. So if you're only taking a magnesium, if you're taking a pure magnesium supplement, you need to be really careful, and you're not consuming calcium-based foods, or your supplement isn't well balanced, then you do run the risk of putting that ratio out, okay? Magnesium is responsible for muscle relaxation. Calcium is responsible for contraction. And you do need contraction, okay? When you're doing a squat, you want to be able to contract your muscles well. So when you supplement, you run the risk of toxicity, of putting your body out of balance. And that's why you need to be super specific with your supplementation. And I would say get it monitored. Rarely should we be taking the same supplement constantly for a few years. Like I would be looking at making sure you're getting variety, making sure you know what you're doing with your diet, making sure you're tapering your supplementation. And if it's not giving you a result, question why you're taking it, okay? Because in my clinic, we use therapeutic grade supplementation, which means we give you a specific supplement at a specific dose for a specific time frame for a specific result. Specificity is key with supplementation if you want results, okay? So keep in mind that you can put your body out of whack and out of balance if you supplement incorrectly or for too long. And you can run that risk of toxicity. So keep that in mind. I recommend getting, a practitioner to do a thorough health assessment and to check in with your supplements. You are more than welcome to book a consult with me down below. I'll pop the link. Now, some final tips. Do not take supplements unnecessarily. Okay? If you don't need them or you're not knowing what result you're after when taking it, don't take it. Get some professional advice first. If you don't, I'm going to say it again. If you don't know what result you're after, be really careful to supplement, okay? You should know why you're taking something. Simple as that. You should know why you're taking something. You should know what results and what effect it should be having in your body. And the last thing is, poor quality supplements will give you poor quality results, okay? If you're not dosing correctly, if the form of the nutrient is poorly absorbed, then you're not going to get the results. As an example of this, there's a particular supplement I use for sleep issues, and I have a 99% success rate within like 3 days with this supplement of people having better quality and duration of sleep. A 99% success rate when I use this supplement. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. I had a lady this week who I gave a sample to, and they were waking maybe like 10 or more times a night and took it, and that night woke up once. Okay? So when you get the right supplement, it works pretty quick. Okay? You get results pretty quickly. So if that's not happening for you, ask some questions, get some professional advice. Now, if you are wanting to dive into this, please either send me a message or book a consult, because results are guaranteed. It just depends on being really, really specific with your supplementation and your therapy, your nutrition therapy, and duration, okay? And if it's not working, ask questions, okay? I mean, you have to dedicate time to it as well. Consistency over perfection. I think sometimes, especially in the natural health industry, people give up too quickly, okay? Or life gets in the way and they stop, right? But if you don't start, you'll never get the results. If you don't commit, you'll never get the results. And taking a supplement takes 20 seconds, okay? It takes 20 seconds. It doesn't take a lot of time to take the supplement. So, yeah. I would love it if you have questions. Please pop them in the comments. And just let me know if there's anything you want to learn about. Let me know. But I've absolutely loved this chat. It's something I'm super, super passionate about, because I see in clinic time and time and again how epic people's results are when we nail the supplementation and we get really specific with it. So it can change your life if it's specific. All right, that's it from me. I hope you have a happy, happy day and a beautiful week ahead, and we'll chat soon.